The 20 state governors elected under the umbrella of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, have failed to choose a consensus candidate for the presidency, despite appeals by President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday. Now, the governors who revel in the exalted position they now find themselves because of their stronghold on delegates remain torn apart by their different interests. They are also being pulled apart by powerful outside forces in a fierce contest where Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, APC National Leader Bola Tinubu, and former Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi remain the frontrunners. Now, as the date for convention draws nearer, we look at the possible forces that will determine the outcome. Now, we have here in the studio two members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, from different camps. We have Honorable Atashehu, he is the convener, Tinubu School, and Honorable Njuma Muhammad, a member of the APC. Gentlemen, you're welcome today.
Thank you so much.
All right. So let's start with you. And the word consensus has been bandied about a lot when it concerns the APC as it is right now. So what exactly, what is the situation, and how far are we leaning towards consensus in the APC?
Thank you so much for the very beautiful question. Consensus is a very good thing if properly managed, because what it seeks to do is to bring various political gladiators together to determine what their interests are and to manage those interests. And at the end of the day, we reach a single purpose, of having a unifier and presenting a one front, and it brings that unity to the household. But when it is not properly managed, when there are conflicting interests that are not properly managed, it's going to be a very big problem. And clearly, if you see the handwriting on the wall, it appears that is the direction we're heading to. But then I want to believe, and I still have a stronger belief in the party leadership. Party leadership in the sense that the President of Nigeria, our party leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, his ability to be able to reign on the current situation in the party to bring everybody to the fold. Because the actual battle we have in our front is not the battle within, it's the battle between the APC and the PDP. These two political platforms are seeking to present their best forward for the next general election. That's talking about 2023. And if we don't do that, there's going to be a repetition of history. I will hope that when the history repeats itself, it's going to be in the favor of our party, the APC. So what do we need to do? We need to present our best forward. And currently, our best forward is that person that can galvanize the necessary political structure, the political support for us to be in a good position comes 2023. And from history, from what if we don't know history, we don't know where we're coming from. That means we don't know where we're going to. It's only Almighty God that owns the world, that knows what tomorrow holds for everyone. But the ability has given to human beings is for you to be able to retrace your steps, to know where you're coming from, to judge from where you're coming from, for you to be able to project the future positively or negatively. So from where we're coming from as a party, we have political gladiators that have come together to make, in 2014, 2015, to produce what we have as the APC. From that equation, we have the ACN, we have CPC, we have ANPP, and we have the new PDP. And when we put all these parties together, we know who are the forces there. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, His Excellency, is the force you cannot wish away.
Coming to you, Honorable, I like your closing statements, talking about consensus and drilling down to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I will charge you for the advertisement after the program. The narrative, as we currently see them, appears to be skewed. You alluded to in your comments of all the forces that came together. There was also the new PDP faction that made that whole arrangement complete. Is it fair to then migrate to a system where Nigerians begin to get the impression that it is now a turn-by-turn Nigerian limited, because you aided something to happen, it has to be your turn, or we are merely looking for somebody who would be a unifier against the backdrop of the fact that some section of this country feel that they have not been adequately carried along with regards to leadership. Which is a primary consideration, your political sagacity or the need to move in a direction that would further strengthen our unity as a country? I'd like you to respond to that and some of the salient issues that he has raised in his opening comment.
Yes, I think the first response to that is the key thing should be the national interest. Neither political sagacity nor individual ability or contributions to the making of the political party. National interest is key. And I believe that is what is on the mind of the president. The truth of the matter is that we, as a democracy, simply to have missed it from the onset. But it's good that this is coming up, because we are one family. APC is one family. Naturally, and from the accepted, or rather generally, accepted kind of global democratic practice, once a government, a political party is in power, they try everything to avoid creating the space for a heated intra-party election, because it causes fragmentation, it causes division, and no one single political party, ruling party, goes to a general election divided and wins election. And unfortunately, it happens here to the PDP. You just talked about the new PDP that came into APC. I mean, these were the first. In fact, it was the last straw that broke the camel's back and that got PDP out of power. So we must avoid that lane. So in the first place, my opinion should be is in tandem with the demand of Mr. President on that ground. Secondly, I talked about national interest. As an outgoing democratic regime, one of the key factors in the minds of this government should be continuity. Continuity of its policies and programs, continuity of the rail project, continuity of Empower, continuity of the TSE, continuity of massive investment in the power sector, continuity of creating enabling environment for the emergence of private refineries like we see in Dangote refinery. So, and you don't risk this by handing over, the government democratically to people who do have a different mindset to take us back to another experiment. So that is why the president, not for personal reason, for the party interest and for national interest, should be allowed to determine who among the candidates best fit to continue. He has the capacity to hit the ground running, continuing with the project without experimenting with new ideas.
Without preempting what you are going to respond, because you raised quite an issue, and I see issues in what he has raised with regard to continuity of government policies and who is best suitable to do that. But we would play a tape from Abeokuta yesterday that seemed to have changed the dynamics of this heat. Probably raised the temperature by another 1,000 Fahrenheit. I will give you the opportunity to respond, but I want to play that tape, and we will grind in gradually from that. Please take a listen.
Tí o bá sí àwa èmi tí ń dúró wájú yìí tí ń lérí ogun tí ní òkè Buhari nìṣó ká máa bá lọ. Kò lè di president. Ó ṣe kìíní olùlẹ̀. Ó ṣe kejì olùlẹ̀. Ó ṣe kẹta olùlẹ̀. Ó tiẹ̀ sunkún lórí tẹlifíṣàn pé láyé òun ò tún rán mọ́. Mo dẹ̀ lọ bá ń Kaduna wá rán ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀kún kọ́ lélẹ̀. Àdúró tiẹ̀ wà á dẹ̀ wọlé. Nǹkan ní pé o ò ní fọ̀rọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá ṣeré. ó dẹ̀ gbà. Àtijọ́ tó yẹ ti débẹ̀ mi ò gba mínísítà mi ò gba contract mi ì tọrọ ọbẹ̀ mi ì tọrọ gàrí mi ì tọrọ fúra.
Let me start by apologizing to our viewers that he spoke mainly in Yoruba. I would attempt what would appear like a loose interpretation of what he had done. First, to remind Nigerians that his contribution was vital to the emergence of this president, and that in the life of this administration, he had not sought any favor, and neither did he take up any any ministerial appointment with the current administration. He went as far as mentioning how his support was vital to the emergence of the governor of Ogun State, who we understand was also right there at the venue, essentially, and pointed out also how he was instrumental to the emergence of the current vice president and all of that. Why do we have to be reminded of these rules? Is it because he's getting some kind of feelers that he may not end up being the anointed candidate? If he talks about, and this is now querying the Tinubu's mantra of power returning to the South. Let us take it that the president makes another choice from the South. Would that not be competent enough for him as a party member, as a kingmaker? Does he have to be the one in the driver's seat to take us to the El Dorado that we deserve?
Thank you so much for the question. You know, this is politics. And in the game of politics, what drives each and every one of us, primarily first, your first primary driving factor is your interest, your personal interest. We are in 2022 today.
That's right.
And by the special grace of Almighty Allah, President Muhammadu Buhari is our president today.
That's right.
He is the president today because of his personal interest. His interest to contest in 2003, for the first time, he contested, he failed. He contested, it is because of his personal interest. If he was not interested, he would have contested. He did that in 2003, 2007, 2011, 2015. He did that because he wants to become the president of Nigeria. And in democracy, we're in the democratic setting. We're not in an autocratic system of government. Everybody, whether you're a child of the street hawker, or you're a child of a farmer, or you're a child of the president of the country, or you're a child of the elite, you should be allowed to pursue your personal ambition. And that is the beginning of everything. Yeah, power moving to the south or not, 2015, we had a sitting president from the south, and it was the turn of the north, and President Muhammadu Buhari had always been coming on the field. And we see a Buhari that was coming to, because of the mood of the country, the PDP has run this country aground, corruption everywhere, and we know his antecedent. This is somebody that will come and fight corruption for us, to unify the country for us. And today, we're all here today, we know what has happened. He has done his best. And this is an opportunity for us again to present the best foot forward. To present the best foot forward. And who is our best foot now? Coincidentally, power is going to the south. And our best foot forward, in terms of equity, north-south, power is going to the south. So the south cannot say that they've been sequestrated to the backwards. You get? It's going to the south. And we have seen a unifier in His Excellency, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We have seen a unifier in him. You go to Anambra Southeast, or you go to Imo, you go to Enugu, you go to Ebonyi, you see people, you see Nigerians, irrespective of their party divide. I'm saying this to you because I interact with Nigerians on the basis of the platform I have. I could convene the Bola Tinubu school to school, that seeks to reform our educational sector, despite the fact it's a political platform. What we want to do there is to reform our educational sector, because we have identified that with education, you can become whoever you want to be. You get. So to conclude what I'm saying, power is moving to the south, equity is there, and as a party, APC, as a party, we are presenting our best foot forward, and that is what we have identified in Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right, let me come to you. Yeah, we're talking about our best foot forward. We're talking about national interests. We're talking about the best person that can actually take us to where we want to get. You spoke about El Dorado. Yes, we all want to get to the city of gold.
Certainly.
Yes. Is it enough? Because most of what we've been hearing right now is it enough to say, I made you president, you should also make me president?
Thank you. Certainly not. That is political eulogy. The whole thing has been personalized. It's a pity we are getting to this level, and I am rather becoming uncomfortable with, Tinubu's, intemperate use of words, taking this credit of being. Certainly, he was part of it, and certainly he played a major part to the making of the Buhari's presidency. But Tinubu should know that Buhari complimented him, because without Buhari as APC presidential candidate in 2015, Tinubu would not have been the leader of a ruling party in government. I mean, this is it. So you do one thing, you get the other thing. But we shouldn't get to that point. What we are talking about here is Tinubu should know, Tinubu and his followers should know that when national interest comes to play, then with what you invoke is patriotism. Patriotism demands that whenever personal interest comes in conflict with national interest should take precedence. We're looking for who will continue this. And what we are saying is simple. Even Mr. President, we urge him to look among his administration. There is nobody there other than his vice president who has such a broad knowledge, a comprehensive knowledge of all the policies that have been initiated under his regime. The credit that comes with a democratic government is one of the credits, apart from human rights and freedom of expression and association, is the orderly succession in government. President Obasanjo, when he was asked why, the former president, when he was asked why he wanted the third term for himself, he said that he asked other leaders of great nations, why was it that policies in their climb normally don't fail? And once policies are initiated, they are taken, to a very fruitful and successful end. And they told him that they stay long and they remain in government to make sure that they grow and nurture these policies to fruition. I do not take power elongation or tenure elongation as an excuse for policy success, but rather consistency and stability in the policy. And this nation has been a victim of this inconsistency. We've been a victim of this disorderliness in terms of policies. People simply come in to want to take credit and start from the beginning of everything. Sometimes certain things are undone by an incoming regime, not for anything, just for personal reasons, which affects the nation at long run. Look at the NYSC, a very successful policy of the Nigerian government. Why has it been successful? Because it's been allowed to endure by successive regimes. So what we're saying is that if you do not, as a democratic regime, leave behind an order that will allow for consistency, consistent implementation of the policy you have implanted, honestly speaking, this nation will not go anywhere.
I would have loved to have stayed with you. I will go to him, but one of the arguments perhaps when it comes to your turn you would need to address is also how other nations have been able to pass power to people outside people within the administration and have been able to sustain policy. And at other points, some Nigerians would argue that sometimes what you need is even a rejig. Because in fairness, if we look at all the indices in the last 7 years, it doesn't feel like what we want to continue with. And maybe what we need is a better fresh air. But that's an argument for next step. I want to take you on the comments that were made by Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in Abeokuta yesterday by way of fact-checking. Is it safe to allude to the fact, other than the claims, which of course he has spoken to, that he made the president, is it fair to say that he did not benefit anything from this government? We can count at the back of our fingers people who became ministers on account of his recommendation. And there are quite a number. People who became heads of extra ministries, departments, and agencies of government. Some have served under the first tenure, some are serving under the current tenure. Should he have been made a minister or a president to create the impression that he has been adequately rewarded? What danger does this signpost for unity when your major claim to power is that you made him and he should make you? What if the people around him today make him and they then denied for power in 2017? Okay. Should that be the basis for power rotation? So in fact, checking that comment, what's your opinion about what he was trying? What is it he was saying that it appears some of us don't understand?
Okay. Thank you so much for a very beautiful question, and it's an opportunity for us to. I'm not saying I'm saying the mind of Asiwaju, or neither am I saying the mind of his campaign council. I'm an individual saying my personal mind, my opinion. So this should be noted. What happened yesterday in Abeokuta should not be grinded to a 1 or 2 minutes video. I'm sure a lot of other comments, a lot of other statements were made there yesterday. But we should know that this is one of the problems we have within Nigerian media. We tend to just pick a point from somebody's statement, propagate it to the whole world. But the
Tinubu campaign council have not dispelled the comments.
I'm not saying that that comment did not come from him.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that the event that happened in Ogun State cannot be reduced to 1 minute or 1.5 minute video. Still on that, that brings us back to where we're coming from. That, this is a democratic setting. When there is a sense of justice, equity, equality in the system, everybody will play by the rule of the game. People will just naturally accept the outcome of what happened as the will of God and the will of the people. But when there is a third force, a third hand that seems to, override the sense of justice, equity, and equality in the system, these are the kind of things you hear. Even if Asiwaju is not talking, other 1,001 Asiwajus will come up.
But Honorable, if I'm to take you on your statement,
this personal,
and juxtapose it with our reality, we are not speaking as party members now.
Yes.
We are speaking for Nigerians because all we do is to harness view and provide conduit for those views to get to you.
Absolutely.
The person who seemed to be raising this complaint, and I'm still staying with his statement, is renowned for anointing of candidates. He's renowned for, they have done well in their rights, however they emerge. But I am surprised that you are kicking against a process that you seem to have institutionalized as not just the state government, as a party leader in Lagos over 20 years. What is wrong if people, and by the way, we have seen it with all of the governors, the most powerful people in every state as it is today are the serving governors, except for Lagos, where the kingmaker has always been the one making the necessary.
A point of correction, sir. I just want to respond to you. You are trying to tell us, maybe by virtue of the propaganda being bandied around, that Asiwaju has always been the one appointing leadership. Let's even take Lagos as a template in Lagos State. No, that is absolutely wrong.
Okay. That's
a wrong notion, because let's even go back to recently, 2019, the case of Ambode for his second term. They have a ruling council in Lagos. Just like these are people that appraise your government based on the vision of the state, and the vision of the state encompasses or the developmental vision of the state. the human capital development for the state, and every other indices. They have appraised you. This person has gone 4 years. What we do is to appraise what's your pass mark. If the larger number of Lagosians are saying that this person is not fit for a second term, who is
when
assured you that?
Larger number of Lagosians, are you talking
just a
about
minute, just a minute. Let me just conclude my thought, please.
Yes.
You know, like they are saying that they're not, based on his performance, human capital development, and every other indices, this person has done 4 years. There's the need for us to bring up another candidate that will better fulfill our dreams. And that is where Sanwo-Olu came.
Okay.
And Ambode was allowed to go through his primary elections. You get? He was allowed to galvanize support for himself. It was not that a candidate was imposed. He went through his normal primary election, and at the end of the day, he accepted the outcome of the primary election, and he's still a member of the APC today.
That's right.
And he even supported the process that led to the emergence of Sanwo-Olu as the governor of Lagos State, because clearly to him, he went through the democratic process, and he was he accepted the outcome of the democratic process. What we're saying at the national level is this: there should be equity, there should be justice. Everybody should be seen to be played, to be given a level playing field, to come out and to not impose. We're saying no to imposition of candidates. We cannot say, with all due respect to our president, he's the president of Nigeria today by the grace of Almighty God. It's God that put him there. But he came into as the president of Nigeria in 2015 by generality of Nigeria, by acceptance. Nigerians likely, APC, beyond APC, voted for him because of his popularity. So also we also have a candidate, an aspirant now, the person of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that is widely accepted by Nigerians.
Brian, before you come on board, I don't want to fault you, I just want to fact-check your comment. Neither the vice president nor Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has stood in a national election. And so when you say widely accepted, I don't know what validates that choice, that phrase. Other than, we understand he's got sufficient influence around the Southeast, but when you say widely accepted, has this been put to any kind of quantitative or qualitative test by way of an election to suggest, other than the role he played, which now has elevated him as a party leader across the country? I would like your thoughts in 30 seconds before Ibrahim takes his next question.
When I say widely accepted, like I told you, I'm not here blabbing. I have a platform.
Okay.
I have a Tinubu school-to-school platform that every state in this country, we're there.
Okay.
We've been on the field. We've been interacting with Nigerians. We have Tinubu school-to-school, FCT, Ebonyi, Imo, Enugu, Anambra, Ogun State, Rivers, Cross River, nationwide, 36 states and FCT. We interact with Nigerians on this. We take opinion polls. We take opinion polls, and we've been able to assess the acceptability, without putting anybody's sentiment into it. We're not saying what Tinubu we want to see an objective assessment. And we're talking on the basis of this. This is a candidate that is highly accepted, and he is the one who believe, if presented by our party in 2023, will be in a better position to compete with Atiku Abubakar from PDP.
All right, Honorable Njuma, let me come to you. I want us to move away slightly from the current trend that we're on right now, focusing on individual aspirants. I want to look at the party now. I want to look at the APC as a party. The president has spoken to governors. Give me the opportunity to select or to appoint my successor, which you have alluded to is actually good for continuity and the rest. Sunday made a valid point about other nations doing that, but I would just want you to address this first before we get into that. He left without us having, or should I say without the governors coming to any sort of agreement. How good or how bad is this for the party if the current crop of leadership, that is the governors now that we're talking about, cannot sit down amongst themselves, as my cousins will say, whisper amongst themselves and come up with one particular person or say, okay, fine, let's toe this line, all right, Mr. President, pick who you want to pick, or we pick this person for you, or let's see from this list of people, who do you want? How good or how bad is that for the APC now?
3 days or 4 days
to convention.
It's not bad at all for APC. Normally, in political contest, agreement comes at the very last minute, normally. And I want to assure you that the governors will certainly reach agreement. They will find no problem in honoring the president, with that wisdom, to present his own successor to the party. And I want to say, president wanting to present his successor does not really mean imposition. As the most importantly, that the endorsement of that successor by the party organ is what you call consensus.
Well, because the point which is valid.
Yes.
The process is key. That people feel that they are given a fair and equitable chance, and they lost to a just process is also vital, because the PDP is there as an example, which you also made in your introductory remarks. If this process is not properly we understand that agreement can come in the last minute, and it may come in form of an imposition, and there will be no room for reconciliation. Should this continue, what does it portend
for the party?
For the party?
No, it will not continue. I am saying that I trust my party's ability to overcome all this. It is not a problem at all. In fact, there is no disagreement among the governors. All you need to, all you will see at the very end is that the president will endorse a candidate for the party organ. And once the party organ accepts this, it becomes consensus. So excuse me, you see, the process of allowing people to contest for election is a different process entirely. You're talking about delegate election, direct or indirect primaries. These direct primaries, indirect primaries, consensus are all within the purview of the electoral law.
Yeah, they are all within the purview. But the thing is, I think we need to strike a balance, or we need to have the dichotomy between let's say anointing a successor and choosing, or should I say, or imposing a particular candidate. Let's talk about between nomination or anointment and consensus. If the president anoints somebody, says, okay, I want this person to succeed me, but they still go, primaries are held, and everything is done.
Yes, all that process will go.
Yeah, and he will, and that's that. But the thing is, the why a lot of this this back and forth is because the way the phrase consensus is being bandied about. When you say consensus, that means we sit down here, the four of us, and we agree that Sunday is going to be chairman, and that's that. And we say, okay, this is our chairman from now henceforth. That is consensus. But when you say, okay, I support Sunday to become chairman, but still, you can come and contest, and we'll see. I'll back channel and see that I make him successful.
I'm itching to make some contributions before your time. Time is not on our side, I believe. Consensus in this case is not when the president chooses his preferred candidate. That is a choice by the president. Consensus here is fully expressed when the party organ, the National Working Committee, the neck of the party, the elected delegates to party primaries, comes in sync to accept that candidate. They can reject him. That is when consensus is. So there is nothing, there is no imposition here. All the president wants is the normal practice. Like I said, APC is not contesting to access power. APC is contesting the next general election to retain power. So APC cannot afford that rigor, very dangerous rigor, of going through intra-party election, which you call primaries, because it has the potency to generate bickerings, rancor, bitterness, fragmentation, division. Are you with me? And these are the key areas major opponents or opposition will break into. And I told you also before, at the beginning, that APC itself was a beneficiary of such division in the previous ruling party. So we are fully at home here. My only problem here is that Bola Tinubu is taking it to a level which is not really good either. Excuse me, for the nation, for democracy, even for himself.
Okay.
Because excuse me, you come in. There is too much of personal interest.
Let me hold
in
you on
Tinubu's
that.
ambition.
I'm saying this
excuse me. And which shouldn't be.
Yes.
Look, I've not been talking since.
Yes. I just want to make a correction for our audience because Bola Tinubu is not here to respond for himself. Yes. And he may have his valid reasons for advancing some of these positions. What we have tried to do is to interrogate that validity and the reasons and explanation around
I want to
that.
make a point.
I will give you the space. But what I really want you to address, which you touched on but didn't quite dive through, is if the president had always taken into account that going into the primaries as we know it will be a dangerous path because of the bickering and implosion that are likely to come after. And he had always known this position. It wasn't a position he woke up to yesterday or the day before. Why did you allow individuals to invest so much in traversing the length and breadth of this country and canvassing for support and selling their candidature, and at a point where it does appear like they truly have a chance, and then you make that kind of statement and jettison?
Yes, they did under the Constitution. They have their right. And they did what they did within their own pace of time. It is not in the place of the president under a democratic setting, to stop an individual from exactly. And by so doing, you see, you must allow them to go around and express themselves to the party delegates. You know why? Because there you get to know what argument is the individual putting forward, for one thing to merit being elected as the party's flag bearer. We are going into an election where the candidate of the election will have the task of defending the actions, inactions, successes, and seeming failures of this administration.
Thank you.
And excuse me, I have not landed. And it will be too risky and dicey for the party to present somebody outside the administration.
I hear you.
Thank you so much. What we need, the watchword here is equity, justice, and equality. It's a democratic setting. And Nigeria, the constitutionally allowed modes of election is direct, indirect, or the consensus. And where there are consensus, like, all the aspirants have to agree to the party, to the eventual candidate of the party. But there have to be seen that there's a level playing ground for all the aspirants to participate. That is, we're going to go through indirect system of election, however the case might be. Where there are imposition and it is glaring, people become disenfranchised, and there's a sense in the air that this person was obviously disenfranchised. I think that's going to affect our unity as a party and going into the general election. We keep emphasizing continuity. We are where we are today, 2022. The major aspirant, like the front runners in APC, we have the vice president, we have Mr. Rotimi Amici, I will have His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. People are clamoring that they have to be, building on the foundation that His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari has laid. And we clearly know that there have to be a drastic change from what we currently have as a country in terms of our economy. Osibanjo was the head of economy. Where are we today? We know that when president delegates, he gives you 100% authority and response to do whatever you can do to ensure that the country is moved forward. Where are we on economy today? We're talking about transportation, railways and all that. What have the Rotimi Amici done to secure our railway systems? People are kidnapped 65 days from the
I can see you're itching to get in.
Because we are not here. So we're talking about continuity. We're talking about continuity. We're talking about continuity.
Let me just correct
We're talking about continuity, and we're talking about the best candidate from APC that can build on the foundation that our president have laid, and that is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Agreed. I'm sure your bills are running very high with regards to that campaign line. But just to clear a line before Ibrahim takes over, we cannot honestly say that the
what I'm
security
saying,
of
my personal opinion,
I agree, and I'm just trying to correct an impression so that we do not. We also have the opportunity to educate as much as we want to put out our perspective. We cannot honestly say that the security of the rail tracks are that of the former Minister of Transport. He is to provide the rail. Guaranteeing the security of that rail is to another arm of government, all within the ambit of this government, by the way. I agree with you. I just thought I should make that correction.
Honorable Raju, I know you are itching to respond to some of this, but I just like to still try to steer a little bit clear of individual, but still, this question drills down on that. But in 30 seconds, please. There are some fillers where people are actually getting the impression that some people are behind this consensus movement because they are actually afraid to face certain people in the primaries.
Certainly not Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. Yemi Osibanjo is among the candidates, the one that has gone around the entire country, met one-on-one with every potential delegate to these primaries. Well, certainly not him. He is ready to go through the rigors of the primaries. But the truth is that, look, this is Nigeria. I told you earlier on that it is in the practice of democratic governments in power that are outgoing to endorse quietly, but to the acceptance of all party organ, their successor. That is one. Secondly, like I said, you see, we just had PDP's primary. See what see what came out of that primary? I'm not talking about the presidential candidate or even the candidates. My brother, it is a sad commentary on Nigeria's democracy. That just when we're talking about, pushing national interests to the highest pedestal, money, dollar becomes a factor in determining who governs Nigeria. Very sad. So you see, avoiding to have, and the tradition in Nigeria is that once the opposition party spends 10 million on a project, election project, the ruling party must spend tenfold of that 10 million.
So
to avoid that image, to avoid damaging further, creating further damage on Nigeria's
time is actually not enough.
I think it's just after that APC.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. The closing remark from me is this. In 2015, we had an elected candidate through a democratically accepted process, where President Muhammadu Buhari emerged as our flag bearer in Lagos through an indirect primary election. And that process was seen to be very seamless, very equitable, and it was a platform for him. Let him allow the delegates to go through an indirect system of primary election to elect our party flag bearers comes Monday or Tuesday, and we are home.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I cannot. I wish we had more time.
No, excuse me. I have to.
No, but we have to close.
Time is not.
10 seconds.
Time is not.
You did not tell me that's the program. Yes, if we do that, we will overshoot.
I know it's your shoe.
Yeah,
it's not my shoe.
I agree. If we do that, we will overrun an advertiser's time. That would mean you buying time. We would give you the opportunity to come back again, please.
No, I may not be alive tomorrow.
No. Let's not do this, please.
The impression on ground,
please,
is the fact that, the party is faced with a reality. We cannot go into an election with a faulty ticket. If you have a Muslim ticket from APC against the PDP, APC goes off the line.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that thought. You see.